everybody, Keith Wilson at the Trombone Shop at Schmidt Music, back with another equipment review for you. So today I'm going to be reviewing a mute, specifically the Humes and Berg Pixie mute here. So this is the one that's so often used with plunger mute work as well, made very famous by Al Gray and Wycliffe Gordon and a lot of other folks here. So I'm going to be taking a play on this here for you so that you can hear it in action. I'm going to be doing all of this today on my own personal trusty King 3B and a box 6.5 AL. So take a listen and then we'll talk about it after. So when I think of the Pixie mute for trombone, the first player I think of who probably really popularized it more than any one player was Al Gray, who of course was with the Count Basie band for decades on end, and is still really renowned as one of the premier plunger mute players that we have had. I got into Al a little bit differently. I spent a lot of time listening to J.J. Johnson, Kai Winding, and I always loved their mute work, but there's something about that plunger work that Al did that is always still astonishing to me. And of course, often he paired up his plunger with the Pixie mute. So the Humes and Berg Pixie mute is a really interesting mute. So obviously it's a metal mute. It gives you part of their precious metal line, by the way. And so it gives you, by itself, it has a buzz. It has some certain straight mute characteristics to it. And actually, by the way, the intonation really by and large is pretty good. Low F, below the staff, up to at least B flat C. The intonation is actually, fairly decent. You do get a little bit of back pressure, but we'll talk about that in just a second there. So you do get, a little bit of a unique sound by itself, but it really was designed to be used in conjunction with the plunger, and that's really when its characteristic comes out. It's really, by combining the two that you can get those great buzzes, and you can get that growl in it, and you can get that great wah-yah kind of sound out of it that I think so many people really, really love. I personally, it's one of my favorite mutes to use, again, especially with plunger. It does play a little bit differently. Certain things I do find, at least compared to, like, for example, just a straight, especially a good straight mute, say like a Tom Crown would be as great, of course, Dennis Wick, Joe Rall, all of those. Compared to a good metal straight mute, it does have a little bit more back pressure, I think. So especially in the upper range, I actually had to take a couple takes on the first B flat scale without the plunger because the response was a little bit different. I had a little bit of a difficult time finding exactly where things slotted up there. Now, again, what's interesting about it is because of what's happening with the air pressure and how it all combines, I actually find it easier to play with the plunger, even though, we're changing some of the the geometry and the physics here and everything. It actually, for me, it responds easier with the mute because we're kind of balancing some of that air resistance. And again, to me, it's a much more nuanced sound as well. Obviously there's a lot of playing technique stuff with it. Al Gray, of course, wrote a whole book on plunger technique, which is unfortunately out of print. I know that there are people who have some copies of that. If you have a chance to check it out, it really, really is interesting stuff. I've had a chance to read through it, and he's got a lot of really interesting notes about it. One of the things he talks about, which maybe we'll cover in another video, is he talks about removing the stem. So inside the mute here, there is a stem. Now, when it comes brand new from Humes and Berg, it's basically painted in place here, and then I think they probably do like a little bit of expanding to keep it in place there, but it is removable, and so you can take that out. I've actually done that on my own personal mute, and it does open up the response a little bit. It does give you a little bit more vibrancy, a little bit more of that growl in the sound as well there. I've heard, as a complete aside, I've heard that does not work on the trumpet Pixie mutes, that it just basically destroys them. So I don't know about that, but on the trombone end, it does do some different things, and again, maybe we'll do a comparison with that at another time here. But again, I think it's something, if you do, if you're doing big band work, any type of, especially like solo chair, big band work, or, if you are doing small group work, especially, I love using this mute in traditional jazz settings, Dixieland settings, this kind of thing. Now, is it real, straight traditional Dixieland? Were they doing stuff with this during that time period? Maybe yes, maybe no. But I think the character of it, I think, is very appropriate for that, along with a whole number of different settings there. So if it's something you haven't considered before, maybe try it out. Again, combine it with your plunger. It really does open up some different possibilities that I personally really, really love. So, as always, hope you enjoyed the video here. If you have any thoughts about what you heard, questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments here. If you liked the video, as always, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to our channel. We'd love to have you as part of the community that we have growing here. And you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So, thank you as always for watching. Thank you.